Hey, everybody. Call the meeting
Hello.
to order 7:01. Don't see any public participation. And do we have a quorum for meeting approval minutes? I don't think so.
If everyone who is here votes, then we're good, but if there's any folks that don't, then we don't.
Okay. Is everybody willing to vote for the November meeting minutes and also the minutes from our specialized code forum?
So I wasn't here for the November meeting, so I wasn't going to vote. Sorry.
Okay.
Is it to approve the minutes or is it just to accept them?
Approve them.
Yes, I couldn't say what was said and I can accept them, but not approve them.
Okay. I guess we can come back.
We can table it, see if anyone else shows up, and if not, we do it another time.
Okay. Next item is talk about 2024 initiatives for ESC. I do want to acknowledge what we've accomplished in 2023 as well. What we ended on a great note with specialized code passing town meeting. So that was a huge accomplishment. And we did it before Melrose, so another great thing. They just passed it, city council recently, so. So in the beginning of the year, we started our school waste reduction programs at two middle schools or two elementary schools, which are still going strong. We also started food rescue at Dover and hoping to start some new programs at the other schools in the coming year. We also completed our greenhouse gas inventory for Wakefield this past year, and looking to develop a climate plan. And we did a lot of collections for different items for recycling and pumpkin composting, and we did a lot of outreach at different events and education. We did a lot of recycling education, doing the recycling 101 and also visiting the recycling center, recycling facility. So yeah, I think we should be proud of all the accomplishments we had. EV showcase, sorry. Yes, our first EV showcase. So yeah, we got a lot done, and so congrats to everybody on that. So looking ahead to the next year of what we want to focus on, I mentioned I would like to continue to develop the school waste reduction programs in other schools. Would love to do another EV showcase. Also looking to develop that climate action plan. So, you know, those are my ideas. Would love to hear others. Stefan?
So I don't know if folks, I mean, I recently got an electric car, and I was so lucky as to not be able to get a house charger installed until, January. And I've become acutely aware of the, I'm going to call it classist nature of electric cars, in that if you don't own a home and you do not have a place to put a charger, the likelihood of somebody, in fact, purchasing and being happy with said car is probably going to be pretty low. And so I was wondering if there's something further we could do in working towards, especially considering the transportation, commuter transportation thing with the continued increase in rental properties in the Wakefield area. If there's a way we could look for and advocate for some kind of increase in charging stations for the rental population. I'm sure that's a big ask for this group, but it's, again, I think if I hadn't experienced what I'm experiencing right now, which is not that bad, by the way, we have a couple of, but it's actually pretty rough trying to, look around and ensure that everything is, that we are accounting for charging opportunities, including things like driving 2 cars to a charger in order to make sure we have a spot, that kind of thing. So that's it.
Oh, it's a great idea. Definitely, I know like all cities and towns are struggling with rental properties and charging. Especially when there's no garage or anything to set up the charger on. And so like I know Melrose has piloted like a street charging on the utility poles, but that was kind of through National Grid pilot program. So we should definitely talk to the utility, because I know they are been spearheading the public charging around town. So we should talk to them about what their plans are to expand. And I mean, for as far as like new buildings go, we have the stretch code, which requires public charging installation, but yeah, it's only like a limited amount that's required. So, but definitely a good idea.
Melissa and Stefan, are you guys familiar what Cambridge did to help support folks without driveways? So they recognize that folks, if you park on the street, and if you're fortunate, you can park in the street in front of whatever kind of building you have, somehow you have to run a cord out of a window and it's a tripping hazard. And so there were complaints. So they actually, I had to look up, you can now apply to have your cord cross a sidewalk without getting in trouble. And the idea of the mat is that it's the things can roll over it, so it doesn't become a tripping hazard. I mean, there is a cost in addition to that, but it is the city recognizing that we have to allow folks to run cords across sidewalks to their cars from their buildings. And where on the side of the building you actually charge to is more dealing with whomever owns the structure, but just the non-street the non-driveway opportunities. I know people, access to street parking is a sensitive topic in town, but we do allow overnight parking on the street. So maybe that is something we can do to support people.
Yeah. We should look at
It's going to be a multi-pronged kind of thing. And it really depends. Again, I think the municipal is already going to be doing some amount of work in this area, but maybe there's a campaign that we could run to try to get some businesses to sponsor the placement, things like that. Just like more than 5, I think would be like nice. I mean, I think right now that and I don't mean like free either. I think there's a couple Volta chargers at Shaw's, but I'm just I'm thinking more if we did it in conjunction, especially with the transit housing thing, that there would be an opportunity for us to maybe start to pre-plan for some of that stuff. Even if it's years from now, it would be good to figure out a plan.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be multi-pronged approach for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a great idea.
And I think just following on that, and Tiana, maybe you guys, I can't remember where it ended, kind of along the same rental with waste management. When did we ever come out on making sure that people in rentals can recycle and do other things? Melissa's shaking her head. Did we hit a wall on that?
Came out nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and frankly, I stopped following up in September on it because we got more interested in the stretch code,
Yeah.
but or specialized code. We were trying to go through the Board of Health on that and haven't gotten very far. I think it's worth picking that back up. But I think what you're getting at though is there's something to be sort of packaged in the sense of sustainability advocacy for renters. I think there are several things that are harder in that sphere, and if we can help with that. I mean, not all of the multifamilies that don't do recycling are rentals. Some of them are condos, and
True.
not all renters are in multifamilies large enough to not get curbside recycling. So it's not, identical population necessarily affected by these two lacks, but
Yeah, so I guess I am kind of getting at that, right? I mean, I know MLD is doing some good things. They're gonna actually this aggregated solar that they're gonna have will be an option for renters or people who just can't put solar on their roof. They're gonna have a low income tier for it. That will have a much faster payback, which is good. And I think they may have some energy efficiency and weatherization funds as well. So yeah, I think that maybe it's just kind of a guidebook or a best practices to start with, and then start looking for funding for kind of augmenting them or something. I don't know. And I do agree. I think going forward, anything new built now, we're pretty, it's good. I mean, everybody's gonna have to do that. Now, I don't know about the 40A. Those are gonna be what, 4-family houses. We'll have to look into see what EV happens there, but. Okay.
Any other ideas for next year?
well, we've been working on the green business thing, so I think launching
Okay.
that and getting businesses into it, getting support for them. So I think just standing up the program isn't actually going to do much. It's much more about getting businesses thinking about what they can be doing and helping educate them, helping advocate for what they're trying to do. I think there's a lot in there, and we can probably build a lot on that.
Yeah, and that could be, a gateway to having them sponsor electric charging or.
Yeah, sorts of things. Another one that I was thinking on, and I'd send something out about electric school buses, but I think to your point, someone's point, there's just not the proportion of folks who drive to school rather than taking the school bus is actually pretty staggering. So I wonder if there's anything we can do to try to overall reduce the emissions involved in getting kids to and from school, whether it's increasing ridership, reducing idling, encouraging cycling, etc. I'd love for us to go towards electric school buses, but that might not be the first step in a school emissions reduction campaign.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the fee is for taking the bus, but I've heard that that's a hurdle that is preventing people from taking the bus, and yeah, there's definitely.
So maybe there's some funding we could find from a sustainability lens toward helping support that.
I don't even think bus is offered at my kids' elementary. I don't think Walton even does it.
Right. I don't think
Really?
so.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, I
the
don't think
notion is
Greenwood
everyone
does
who,
either. The little community schools don't.
Oh, so it depends on the school whether they offer it.
Yeah, I think you have to be like a mile away.
Yeah,
or
I
something,
think you're right.
or something.
yeah. And like because the area that takes Walton and Greenwood are smaller,
Amy
there
probably
aren't
knows
enough
more.
people
I
who are
actually
far
think,
away.
sorry, I'm just going to chime in.
No.
For Woodville, and Dolbear, anyone can pay for the bus. You can live, like, for example, Stephen Ingles' kids take the bus to Woodville, and he's very close. You would get a free bus. Like, there are students that go to the Woodville that live over by Hopkins Street. because they're so far away, they get free busing.
Hmm.
Okay, so it's kind of whether you pay or not is.
Yeah, but Walton and Greenwood don't have bus offered unless you're a special education student, and then it's like a smaller bus.
Okay.
Got it.
So it's really the bigger schools that offer busing, and it depends on location, whether you have to pay or
Yes.
not. Okay.
I know, at least when my kids went to the Galvin, a lot of people use, at least people who live up and down kind of Main Street, use the city bus too. Which is good. Kind of maybe along those lines, and I know Nathaniel's on, and we have 3 new, I don't know whether everybody watched Town Council Monday night, but I think I kind of pushed to let all 3 of the students on who applied.
Oh, so it was you.
We got all 3. But I also, and you know, in the same meeting, we actually had a conversation about volunteerism and, you know, all the volunteerism in town, but a lot of competing things. And I mean, I would love to work with Nathaniel and the students on trying to figure out like how to really use the youth that are interested in this committee, and like how to structure our meetings so that maybe they don't have to sit through a 2-hour meeting, but they can kind of come and report on what they're doing and really feel like they're, you know, maybe have either their own projects or, so I don't know. I feel like I'm also the liaison to the youth council, and I just know like how tremendous these youth are. And maybe I might volunteer Nathaniel because he's the only one here, but I wouldn't mind kind of working with the youth on identifying what projects they care about and helping figure out how to structure that.
Yeah, I'd love to help with that also. And we've talked about that on the community education subcommittee, that we would certainly love a student. And if a student is interested in that, you know, I think they could do a lot to help our outreach opportunities be more effectively youth targeted. But yeah, I would love to help with sort of how to harness that energy for sure.
Yeah, so some sort of a youth component, youth project stuff.
I have a couple other random ideas for the year. I really liked the different recycling drives, like the one that's going on now with the Christmas lights and the candy wrappers. And I wondered if there were any other like hard to recycle items where we could do something similar. I know the black plastic has come up before, and I think you said there was some service that did that. I don't know if there's a bin we could have at town hall for a month or something that would collect black plastic, or some other difficult to recycle thing. The other thing I was thinking about was, I know Tiana and I on the education subcommittee, we were talking about maybe doing like native plants or pollinator education talk in the spring. And I wondered if there are any like unused spots in town where we would be allowed to plant like small little gardens like that, like little community pollinator gardens or something along those lines. So that was a thought too for the spring.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Maybe Melissa, as we think about kind of guests for future meetings, Dennis DeFazio, who is our kind of tree person, he might be a good person to come and speak.
Speak about like
Well, I mean, I trees, I know we have a whole tree planting plan, but he would be the one to ask about town land to do special plantings. I mean, he's been working on the rain gardens and things like that. You know, maybe there's a way to overlap with that. Or I was in DC this week. There was like a rain garden on K Street. I mean, it was amazing, like on this big urban street, like these, yeah, just incredible.
Lillian, I've often wondered why at the library, given its name, that there isn't more pollinator gardens in the plantings they do have.
Good question.
And it might just be a level of a kind of awareness.
Yeah.
I know that when the first year we had this committee, Rob Darnell was really, there are some beekeepers in town too.
I think
he works with youth and like, that would be an awesome, I mean, it's on my bucket list someday to be a beekeeper, but.
We had a crazy bee swarm in one of my bushes over the summer, and my beekeeper neighbor came and helped us out.
Really?
Yeah.
There's beekeepers up the street?
Yeah. Yeah, your neighbor too, I guess. Yeah.
Does everybody live on Fairmont Street?
Yes.
I'm down the hill from it, so I get the benefit.
Tiana, you also mentioned the science curriculum, working with Joanne on like adding climate change to the science curriculum.
Yeah, so folks know there's a year-long process going on right now. They're sort of in the middle of to and maybe Amy can say more, to evaluate and refresh the STEM curriculum in the schools. And that sure sounds like an opportunity to make sure that climate change is appropriately covered. There's certainly school districts around the country that are rewriting that in ways that are not sustainability focused. So they're already a good chunk of the way through this process. I think over the coming couple of months, they're going to be finding potential materials and evaluating them and stuff like that. But I had reached out to Joanne Marks, who's the STEM coordinator for the middle and high schools, I believe, with the idea that she might come to one of our meetings as a guest speaker and just sort of share about their process and about what it looks like in the curriculum, in case we can help in any way, or put our thumb on the scale for appropriate climate conscious education. But I want to make sure that we're doing that at a time that is useful and not disruptive to their process, given that they started it months ago, have goals in place. She is certainly an ally of the ESC, so I imagine they are going in a good direction there, but it feels like we would be remiss in not at least glancing and sharing some perspectives.
So hi, I did bring this up, and sorry I'm on mute. I'm a little under the weather, so I did bring this up at the school committee meeting on Tuesday, and even after the meeting, Doug said he's open to a conversation, but I'm not sure if it'd be more Karamaros than Doug. But then reading through the trail of Joanne's email, it seemed like she was open too. As a school committee member, I really don't sit on curriculum reviews. It's not my purview, but they will come to the school committee to present it when they're done. And we don't even approve it. We can ask questions, but it's not up to us for curriculum. So I don't know if I'm happy to reply to the email and loop Doug and Kara in. Kara's been out this week, but it seemed like Joanne Marks was open as well.
Yeah, any help you can provide, Amy, that'd be great.
Yeah, so after this meeting, I'll reply to Doug and copy everyone and just say, this is what I mentioned at the school committee meeting, and see where he takes it.
Sounds good. Yeah. And again, like I would love for us to have the opportunity to, sort of hear about what they're doing and share, our shared passion for good climate education, but I don't want to be disruptive to the process that they're, many months into already. So whenever is sort of a good time for them to chat with us would be great.
And I also wonder, every year Wakefield Educational Foundation has this grant opportunity. If this committee next year saw like a small program maybe that you could bring into the schools, we could work together and write a grant for that. And maybe it's a grade specific or elementary. That's another way to get updated, education in front of the students.
That's a great idea.
It's already
Thanks,
done this year, but it comes up every year, and they're very generous.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We also have the opportunity to have a table at the STEM fair. That's a K-4, K-5 focused STEM fair in the spring. So we can
sign
bring
up
some
for
ESC there. No, I got halfway through the application process and didn't have a title or description for what we were going to do because we wanted to do something different than last year. So I got stuck. But I did tell Joanne that we would like to be there. It's not for many months, so it seemed like we wouldn't lose our spot. But I mean, I guess to that point, if anyone has ideas for like a quick, at a table, you know, this is a fair, so there are a whole bunch of tables and a whole bunch of kids milling around. So like something quick but engaging for kids that is environmental sustainability focused. I would love some ideas. I've been poking around but haven't found anything great. Last year we did the like, does this item go in the trash, recycle, or compost game? And that was like medium level of engaging. And we had some like coloring sheets that were, I think, not even remotely engaging. So if folks have ideas for things that are engaging about sustainability, you know, short of planting a pollinator garden in the cafeteria of the Galvin that night, please let me know.
When I was little, I got a book called 50 Simple Things Kids Can Do to Save the Earth. And it was like a bunch of very simple things that kids could do around their house to make tiny little changes. I wonder if there's something like that that we could put together, or just have a few ideas at the stand, or, you know, something like that.
Sure,
You
that'd be
have
great.
that book still?
I'm sorry?
You have that book still?
No,
I'm sure
unfortunately.
there's like a, you know, a 2023 edition of that we can
Mhm.
find.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, it could be things where, you know, they can look through some of those ideas and pick one to bring home as
Yeah,
a,
right.
you know, oh, I'm going to go home and I'm going to do this particular
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of did that with those sheets that we had at the table, but I think more of like a something to do at the table, like some sort of activity would also be good. So it's, yeah, we'll have to think on that.
I have a question for the group. As you know, there was the building facilities subcommittee, you know, and I try to listen to the permanent building committee, but they tend to meet same times we do. But are there goals for us or actions we can take to promote continued improvement of the town-owned facilities? Something to chew on. I don't know if, you know, if there was something we can list as a action goal.
Well, we have the green communities, which is focused on the town buildings,
Mm-hmm.
energy use reduction. I guess what else were you looking?
I don't know. I mean, it's there is a little bit of a disconnect right now on there's the capital planning committee, and their process can exist without vetting it through the lens of like the MEP. And it was a lot of time spent into the MEP, which does go into, you know, prioritizing things based on how they, you know, so is there a way that we can influence it or speak up on saying, not to say that I'm sure everything on the capital plan is important, but have them have criteria that even evaluates it on carbon offsets sooner, or other criteria. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, that's what the climate action plan would do. So every decision that, you know, the town makes, it would be through a climate lens. So that's kind of the main point of the climate action plan, that we are hopefully, you know, going to be either developing climate action plan, net zero action plan, whatever you want to call it, that will help guide the town to reduce emissions, and set targets. So I think that's probably the best bet. I mean, because the MVP didn't really, I mean, that was the intent of the MVP, was to, you know, help guide decisions, but nobody's really using it. So the climate action plan would kind of incorporate what we already did with the MVP, but also, you know, all the other things that we're doing, like green communities, and you know, kind of put all these different plans that we have in various places together, and come up with like a holistic plan to reduce emissions, and have, you know, set goals and action items and hopefully somebody that oversees that plan ideally.
Okay.
So I think we have a good list of stuff we kind of want to focus on. I guess the other question is like if we want to continue with the same subcommittees, we want to add new ones, subtract some. Right now we have 4 subcommittees, waste reduction, buildings is just Robin. So I don't know if anybody wants to join her, if we want to just take that one out. We have greenhouse gas inventory / green communities and community education. So if there's one that we want to add or any we want to take away, I guess that's the other thing we can decide
Like-
for next year.
Well, if our ability to impact change on the facilities is through the advocacy of the climate action plan, then it would make sense that building facilities gets rolled into it, so that way recognizing what's the conduit to promote it, that there's no value of a separate subcommittee, that's all, right? Although I am wondering, hearing, Stefan's comments about like advocacy for, EV charging and stuff, does that, where would something like that fall under? People trying to brainstorm things, is that,
We could have like a transportation.
infrastructure support, like, I don't know, do you just repackage it differently to kind of expand to some ideas that were just mentioned?
Yeah, we could have a transportation subcommittee. Or like a renter subcommittee. I don't know, something like that. But I think having a separate group to focus on those things would make sense.
Well,
Is it like energy equity or something like that? He's not all energy though. Sorry, Tiana, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say if we wanted to package the EV charging and the transportation to schools advocacy, like that could be in a shared transportation related bucket. I'm also wondering, just sort of as we're rethinking subcommittees and stuff, the green business program sort of sprung from waste reduction, but not everything in the green business program is inherently waste reduction related.
Right.
So I don't know if we want to keep that one there. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we could blow the subcommittees up and start all over again, like just do it based on, like the particular initiatives that we're interested in. But yeah, I just want to also mention that one feels like it is not concretely aligned with waste reduction.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's something we can think about and talk about next time. How we want to structure subcommittees in 2024.
Would there be any appetite for having a longer and in-person meeting, like a retreat or something, like a half-day get together and like spend more time sort of working through things as a group? I know there's like meeting law stuff we need to be on Zoom anyway, or something like.
Yeah, we can do that at like the AmeriCal. You can just be on Zoom. The town council does it. It'd be
How do
nice
we do
to.
that at the AmeriCal?
They have a TV and Wi-Fi.
Oh, I didn't know that was an option.
I don't think it's probably like a kind of ongoing option, but for like a retreat or a special thing, you could do it
Oh,
there.
okay.
You
No.
retreat, we do a retreat once a year, and it just has to be posted as an open meeting and people can come. You don't have to record it or,
Yeah, I'm not sure you would have to record a retreat.
no, just have notes afterwards.
As long as we have somebody take some notes. It might be worth it. And we've got
I
some-
support something in person.
Yeah, I like
Sometimes
it.
brainstorming can be done a little differently, easier in person.
I mean,
I've been
and this is
trying
what
to
we
get
do,
'em.
like everybody kind of writes down their priorities and we post them all up and group them together and kind of see where things are going into the new year.
Yeah. We could do that. I was hoping that we would have in-person meetings by now, but that's really
We had an
difficult.
update on it. It's still a little bit away.
Unbelievable.
I know.
Okay, so do we think we want to have some sort of all-day retreat in January, February? What do we think?
I don't know if we get everyone for a full day, but maybe a half day.
Maybe like 3 hours or something.
Yeah.
We could bring in lunch or breakfast. You want to put like a doodle together and see what people are available? I mean, sometimes we do DARs in the evening and sometimes we do them on Saturday morning. Just depends.
Yeah, I feel like a weekend morning may be good. Okay.
All right.
While we're thinking extravagantly, I also wanted to put an offer out there. I just very recently became certified to run the En-ROADS climate simulation. Came out of MIT's sustainability initiative and a organization called Climate Interactive. It's this great online simulator to help folks explore sort of what the levers are globally, not necessarily at a municipal level, but the ways that we can get to within 1.5 or 2 degrees C of warming by the end of the century. It's a really cool tool, and it's an interesting, like, we could do an interesting session together with whoever might be interested. I have not started facilitating, so like if y'all want to be one of my guinea pig groups for playing with this, I would be delighted to run like a workshop walking through it and like playing with it. It can also be done as a game where like people are different industries and countries and things, but I think just a regular sort of workshop and discussion would be interesting, but we would certainly need to do that outside of the confines of one of our regular meetings, because it would probably be more delightful in person with snacks, but B, I think we would want to give it at least like a 90-minute session. We could do it totally optional. It doesn't have to be ESC. It could be ESC and some friends. It could be whoever, but wanted to put that out there. That could be an interesting thing to do sometime if we want to carve off time for it.
Yeah, I've actually done it. I know Julia from UMass Lowell, who runs it there, and they came to our office and did a simulation and activity there. So it's
cool.
What's the name again?
It's called En-ROADS, EN-ROADS. I went through it in a class when I was at MIT 10 years ago. It's quite powerful, both technologically and emotionally, to like see what the options are and talk through it with folks. So it's pretty cool.
I think it'd be good to do in the schools.
Yes. Yes, I think that would be very cool. I'd like to work up to that. But yeah, I think I'd be delighted to do it in schools at some point. I'd be delighted to do it for the town council and the permanent building committee or the utility. Like, I think a lot of folks in town could get a lot out of seeing it. again, it would be nice to start with the in crowd first.
Yeah. Do you have like the ability to run it like on, like you have all the software and everything?
Yeah. It's actually available online. Like you could run it, you could do it. It's just that I have spent now many weeks being trained to facilitate it. But you can access it online.
Yeah. Cool.
So we can think about whether that's interesting and find a time to do that. To include.
Okay. So now that we have like a pretty good list, I guess for next time we can talk about how we want to organize those activities into the subcommittees, or we could just talk about that at our retreat. I'll send out a doodle.
I would think that would be a great thing to do at a retreat so that we can just like have a more open discussion on priorities and like how to bundle up the different initiatives and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. That's my take.
So I don't think we're gonna be able to do the retreat before our next meeting, so maybe after next meeting, considering the holidays. But I will send out a doodle for our retreat half day. See when everyone's available. All right. Next item is updates from our subcommittees. So waste reduction, we sent back our candy wrapper recycling boxes. We filled up 2 boxes. So it was, I think, went really well this year. Lots of participation. The box was full at the library, so lots of people used that box, which was great. So I feel like partnering with the library has really been great for us. Not only with like the educational talks, but also now with, you know, stuff like this. So I think we should definitely look into partnering with the library in the future for various things. So that's that would be good to do. And as I said before, I'm hoping that we can expand our waste reduction programs at other schools. It's been difficult to get in touch with Tim O'Brien, facilities director. So, I mean, he has composting in his budget, so which was for all the schools. So I, you know, really love to talk to him about expanding it since, you know, we've already come halfway to, you know, on the school year. Everybody's kind of all settled in at this point. So, you know, last year we rolled them out in January. So I was kind of hoping to do that again in this year, but we'll see. It's kind of getting late at this point.
I'm meeting with Principal Carter at the Woodville on Monday.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Do you want help? Do you want backup?
Sure, if you'd like to. Yeah, I mean, I'd reached out to him. He finally got back to me. I was there at lunch last week as a mystery reader, which was awesome. Yeah. But yeah, you're welcome to come. I'll send you details.
Okay. That's great. And so, yeah, Dolbear, we already have the food rescue, so it's really just adding composting and then, you know, the middle school and high school, which are different beasts than the elementary. But Nathaniel can tell us what he's been doing at Galvin when we get to that part. Actually, we don't have a slot for, oh no, we don't. Nathaniel, do you want to tell us what you're doing at the Galvin? Right.
Sure. So yeah, I started me and a faculty member started a green team. Um so yeah, we had our first meeting last week. We had 2 people show up. So not great turnout, but I have heard of kids who couldn't make it. So hopefully we're gonna have another meeting in January, and I've talked to the administration just asking maybe to do some more stuff on the announcements. Some of my teachers have gotten interest and made some more flyers, so hopefully we'll get some more interest by our next meeting. But what we think we want to start with is really really make some reasons why we should have recycling and composting back as our first move. So yeah.
That's awesome. Great job.
Nice work.
you.
Very cool.
Yeah, certainly let us know if you need any help putting together any materials to talk to the administration about. I know I sent you like the Green Team website and Recycle MA and stuff, but if you need anything else, let us know.
Yep. Thank you.
So is this a green team, like the state program or
Yeah.
something separate?
Yeah, it is.
Awesome. Anything else with waste reduction that I missed? Oh, well, the green business program. Yeah, we're hoping to I don't know if we got any other responses from your
We
We did?
did. Yeah. 2 more. Hold on. 3 more?
your
3 more.
takeover of the chamber's breakfast.
I snuck into the chamber breakfast and put little QR codes on the table, and now we have 3 more responses. So we're up to a total of 5 nuggets of input about the program. I'll look forward to sharing more details at the waste reduction subcommittee, but generally supportive of the program. 4 out of 5 said that recognition as a green business would be important to them. Interest in trainings, shared supply purchasing, coaching, etc. So generally favorable from the 5 random businesses who took our survey.
Great. Maybe we just need to throw QR codes all around town.
It's good. It's my new tool of choice for
Yeah.
conveying information.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Robin, I don't think anything with buildings. Sorry, caught you.
I don't know. Sorry, I'm slowly eating my dinner. No, but I actually was thinking about it that tonight, right now, at the permanent building committee, there is a design update. And one thing that occurred to me was that during schematic design, they led a number of workshops related to sustainability and MEP systems. And a number of my questions that I asked about how they were going to achieve some things in the building was we'll let you know, it was too soon to ask the question. So they've never circled back to say if they achieve them. And, one thing I'm thinking of, Melissa, is the kitchen, just the level of detail on ensuring the dishwasher, space for compost, space for recycling, things like that. So I think I'm going to have to go after them to have them provide that update. And then also to see the latest LEED scorecard. So throughout the design process, they will be updating the scorecard of what they definitely are going to achieve, the maybes and the no's. And, there are some credits as the process goes, moves in all 3 columns. So, and that's fine. So I'm just kind of curious of, where they stand, and if they've, cost is always, importantly, factored in. So is anything had to be reconsidered because of just, looking at things or not. So unless Julie knows otherwise, I think I'm going to have to reach out to them and ask for either private audience or get on the agenda for a future one for them to talk about it.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's in reference to just the high school. The Voc I've given up and they're under construction. Sorry. It's not gonna get involved.
What was I gonna say? Oh, what level of lead certification is the high school going for?
So I think in schematic, they were listing as silver, because that's kind of the minimum in order for the old MSBA kind of criteria to get some bonus points. MSBA has kind of modified it in recent time. But I can't imagine it'd be less than silver. The question is, are they likely to get gold? I've not heard anything about the word platinum, but that's all really old information at this point.
Okay.
And there's levels below gold, so not to say that, sorry, levels below silver.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, no, it'd be good to like see where they're at in the design and definitely on the sustainability aspects too. All right. The next is greenhouse gas inventory / green communities / climate change plan. I talked to Ann Waite from DPW, who has been chosen to help us get together either some grants or for a climate action plan, or kind of help us cobble together all the different plans that we do have into a climate action plan. So we're planning on meeting bi-weekly. Julie, I don't know if you want to join us.
Yeah, I will. I'm sorry I missed the first one.
That's fine.
I was like triple booked.
So Anne was going to reach out to MAPC about the net zero playbook, and also talk to Martha Grover and Melrose about it and kind of see what their process was. And she sent me, there's like a hazardous mitigation plan that the DPW does, that kind of has some climate resiliency aspects and some MVP information. So I think we're trying to kind of put together all the past work into and not let it go to waste, like all the MVP work especially, and kind of put all the different things together that we're doing, green communities, into one plan. And if we can do it ourselves, that'd be better than obviously hiring a consultant. That costs a lot of money. So we're gonna try to see if we can do it ourselves using all this other past work and the MAPC's net zero playbook. So I think that's the goal right now. So we're meeting again next Tuesday. So
What time is that you're meeting?
8:30 a.m.
8:30 on Tuesdays?
Yeah.
All right. Should be able to make those.
Okay. If anybody else wants to join, let me know. Community education.
Not too much super new. We sort of debriefed the specialized energy code success. We have a pile of ideas about next educational things, including, as Lily mentioned, a pollinator / gardening related talk that would maybe be more springtime, and a few other things that we've been tossing around, like the green neighborhood, promote your solar panels and heat pumps type of thing, which also would probably wait till the spring. We've thought about some other events that could be more like a talk in the library, like the recycling one last year. So we are thinking about those. I I don't remember. Was there other stuff, Lily? We're meeting on
Um,
Monday, so this coming
Yeah,
Monday.
we're gonna look into, did you say the compost facility? Did you mention that?
Oh yeah, maybe we'll tour the compost
Mhm.
facility since touring the recycling plant was so cool. Touring the composting facility might also be really cool. So
Mhm.
that'd be a field trip. Probably also for the spring,
Mhm.
but TBD.
Awesome.
Just want to once again say thank you guys for doing a great job on the social media. The range of topics you guys post is awesome. Even if somebody doesn't see it like immediately, you know, if they're searching or learn about us after the fact, that just having all that information available is, I think is, you guys are doing great.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And thank
I
you for being
second
one of
that.
our top fans. Robin, Robin
I
pretty
didn't want to
consistently
mention it, but yeah, I did.
likes
I just,
likes our posts, and I saw something that she had commented or shared, and it like tagged her as a top fan of the ESC page, which was a delight. But I do think like anyone here, you know, you're either liking or sharing or commenting on, especially commenting on like some of the things I post, you know, would love a, oh, interesting article, or, you know, yeah, we tried that and nobody enjoyed my meat-free meat sauce. You know, feel free to chime in as long as it's not about trees. We would love to have your comments on the posts, and that, you know, certainly bumps it up in the algorithms. So, but thank you, Robin. I appreciate your saying that. We source a lot of great material, and everyone, like, a lot of you all send things to us to post. So keep that up also. Like if you see a cool article or you see, you know, an interesting, like, oh, did you know you can recycle this thing over there now? Any of that stuff, send it our way. We try to do a variety of topic areas.
if I forget to send you, just thinking about, you know, at the end of the month, holidays and boxes, so we need to push the relocation of the cardboard.
Yep.
Yeah,
and-
I thought
and the
it
Christmas
already
lights. I
started.
mean,
It doesn't start until next week.
The
which?
cardboard starts next week. Yeah.
Oh, there's a pause.
Well, no, I thought it had already started. I went to town hall. I'm like, where's the cardboard thing?
I think
Well,
that one starts on the 14th or the 18th or something like
Well,
that.
the pit has a special. They're reopening on Saturday, so I wonder if that's
Yeah.
why I didn't. If they haven't moved the box.
I'll post about that though. That's a good one.
I think
But I
it's
was
an
gonna say,
addition. I don't know if it's in addition to the pit or I don't know.
I wish Anne was here to answer that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Well, I guess
also,
the pit isn't always open, so
right.
yeah.
Having posted what you do with your Christmas tree other than bring it to the pit, remind me to send you some links on how gardens benefit from your tree branches.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Yeah, we could post something about alternative wrapping for gifts.
That's on the list though. It's going to be tomorrow, but now with the pit special hours, that might be Saturday.
And what to recycle or not as far as gift wrapping goes.
Yep.
All right. Updates from ESC member groups. Amy, do you have any updates?
Sorry, I don't have any updates. You covered most of the stuff I had as we went through the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Anne is not here. Julie?
I don't think I have any updates either. Other than we're
So when
still in the
does
bike.
Yeah. When does the student liaison start? Do you know?
They probably need to get sworn in, so probably Sherry's reaching out to them this week.
Okay.
So I would say they should be at the next meeting.
Okay. What were you saying?
No, I can think the only thing that is that the bicycle ped plan is probably not going to get voted on until January.
Okay. And Sharon is not here either, so that is all.
Maybe I don't know whose topic this belongs under, but in regards to the specialized energy code vote, is there any follow-up that needs to happen? Like having
So
voted
we'll-
upon it, like great news,
Well,
success, but then
it has to go to the AG's office, who has to make sure like the language is good. That usually takes a few months, and then when they return it to us, then it goes into our bylaws.
Okay.
But we have that time built in, so we should be fine on timing.
okay. But
Um,
is there anything else then that we need to do? Any like
So I introduced Michael to Ben, the inspector, for because Michael's company offers training to building
Perfect.
inspectors. So and Ben seemed like he was interested. So I'm hoping that they can connect and he can get some trainings.
awesome? Is there
Yeah.
funding available? I recall that there was like grants and things that could help with that.
I think there are. The more I talk to like other counselors in other cities, like all the building inspectors are kind of in the same position. So I think there's going to be a lot of group trainings.
I
Got
mean,
it. Okay, so like
we're
we don't have to
also-
go get a grant for it. Like it's just gonna
Yeah,
happen.
I don't think so. It might be nice to check in with Ben in like a month or two, when things have kind of settled down and see if he needs anything from us. Like, it'd be really nice to support him. I know, I mean, it was a leap for him and for the town. So I want to make sure he feels supported.
I mean, it's
The other
over.
thing I didn't mention from town council is that the energy park actually was signed by the governor. So remember we had to get, yes, I know. I can't believe I forgot about it. But it went through the legislature. So this was, I can't remember what it was, like chapter 90 or something. But because we were going to give an easement to land that was in a really kind of given to the town for a park. There had to be an exchange for the land. And in any case, it had to go through the legislature. We got it through the legislature. The governor signed it, and the town council transferred the land to the MLD on Monday night, pending the legal agreement on the transfer of similar land. So the light department is giving the town the park where an old substation was down kind of around the Albion Street area, which is great. It's kind of an area that could really use some green space and some that, and they're going to reforest part of the Maple Way area. And they are transferring some of the land behind the substation off of Farm Street that will be held in conservation. So it's a huge, huge win. So now the MLD can make their orders and get started and build that energy park.
Yay.
Yeah. So we might want to, Tiana, let's wait let me wait and hear when the transfers happen, but then we should celebrate that.
Yeah, send it over whenever there's
Okay.
and whatever the like appropriate wording is, because I'm sure this is one that
Yeah.
will get jumped on. So framing
Yeah.
it in the right end of
Yeah, and I don't know where we are on the DEP appeal. I haven't heard. I was online for the meeting Monday night, so I didn't kind of get input.
I mean, those pockets of land, we could be pollinator gardening.
They could be pollinator, like, yeah. That we may want to go, like, let's talk to Sharon and Tom next time they're on. I think that they would be open to that.
Yeah, I think we should definitely.
I mean, at the very least, making sure it's like good native stuff and not
Yeah.
lawn with sprinkler systems.
Yeah, AstroTurf.
Yeah. 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 I think that this is the time to do that. I mean, they're really worried about getting their equipment in because there's long lead time, just given the supply chain. But yeah, then I think that they'll definitely open up to how to, and I think they'll want some shading, and I think they'll want, not shading, but like kind of parameters, right? I also didn't realize that their tree giving program is not just for town lands trees. Like part of their tree giving program is also for shade, to make your house cooler with shade as opposed to using electric and gas. So when I don't know whether it's still going or probably start again in the spring, but I was really impressed.
That doesn't help with solar energy though.
Doesn't help with solar, but I
Well,
thought the trees were really much more about like staying away from the power lines, but they're equally as important They consider trees equally as important for kind of passive, passive shade that can help with heating and cooling.
You can have trees that help shade the house that don't get tall enough to block your solar.
I know, I'm just kidding.
And I think the word you were looking for, Julie, was screening.
Screening, that's the word I'm looking for. Go ahead, Stefan.
I did not get such a tree when the town gave out the trees. I was one of the first people on the list. And I was hoping to get something tallish,
Yeah,
but thin, and I got a little short, stubby bush thing. So,
go back for another one.
well, I mean, I could have let something randomly grow wild and gotten a better. Anyway,
Okay.
it's still a lovely little tree, but it's just
Wins and losses.
no shade.
All right. Yeah, I've been impressed with what they're doing. They're gonna have a I think their big strategic retreat is in January, and that'll be open to the public. So anybody who's really interested in energy issues, that's kind of a place to geek out on.
Okay,
All I have.
all right, our next meeting is January 11th, 2024. Any matters anticipated? All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Zillian,
Yes.
Robin,
Yes.
Tiana,
Yes.
Julie,
Yes.
Stefan,
Yes.
Amy.
Yes.
All right, happy holidays, everybody.
Thank
Happy
you.
holidays.
You
Feel
too.
better, Amy.
Bye.